guys are live, so you should be able to share it and get started.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I'm just looking at how to share here because I'm not seeing a share option on mine.
So what you do, Johnny, is what you can do is if you're on are you on a laptop or phone?
I'm on my phone, but I've got my laptop open.
Okay, so what you can do, man, is go to that little 3 bars and change your screen. Just share it on Facebook. Actually, I got a notification from your Facebook just now, so I think you did share it because I just got a notification. It says your notification says, "Yep, Johnny and Jake talk right now." I'll share it on my page real quick. Oops.
Yeah, if you could look on yours. Okay, I'm going to my page right now just to see because I want to make sure that we're doing it because I would like to get some commentary from some of these guys.
Sure. Don't blame me, man. But yeah, you can share it. Just change the screen. I don't know. I guess you go flip through the different screens and then you can share it on John's page. You should have got a notification. Here, let me share it on mine as well while I'm at it. Hell.
Yeah, if you share it on yours, I'll steal it from yours.
Yeah, I'll just do that real quick here. Share city. Share now. Okay, so it is now sharing.
Yeah, I'll refresh my page and see if I can't steal it from you. All right,
we'll get this on soon, guys. Don't sweat it.
Okay, I'm sharing it to my page right now. So.
Okay, cool.
I got my laptop open here. So. Okay, it says it's been shared to my page. So hopefully
I got your share.
When I go back to it.
I got your share.
Cool.
So cool, man. So Virginia, man, we're talking potential gun confiscation. Okay. I liked your videos, man. I came in a little late because I got a phone call from somebody just wanted to jibber jabber. It's Sunday, you know. But go ahead and just brief me on what you were talking about in your other video real quick so I can just add on to it.
Okay, so what I was saying is what's going on in Virginia
my glasses here.
It's crazy. And the thing about it is I'm afraid that here soon we'll probably end up seeing a situation where you have these super patriots that, like Waco, Texas, or Ruby Ridge, the real ones, the ones who are really not going to let you take nothing. And it doesn't matter if they have children. It doesn't matter if they have assets. They don't care. Like I said, they used the excuse in Waco, Texas, that it was a cult and those people weren't allowed to have so many guns because they were told they had a lot of guns. But yet again, that's going against, the Constitution. They have the freedom of religion. They have the Second Amendment. And they still went in. And that turned into an ugly, ugly situation. And what's sad about that is a lot of younger folks don't remember these things happening. And we were pretty young when this stuff did happen. But I do remember it specifically because it got ugly very fast. And that's what I feel like is probably going to be the next step in Virginia. I don't think that the National Guard will come in. I know that they were threatening that they were going to have the National Guard come in, but I don't think Donald Trump and those guys will allow that to happen. I think it's his final word before that actually does happen, because I know Bill Clinton knew a lot of what was going on with Waco, but he left it up to others' discretion and said, well, just do what you have to do. But it's super unfortunate when those kind of things happen. But if you want my personal opinion and the reason for my other video, we're not going to see a crazy gun grab. We're not going to see people just handing over their guns. We're going to see an ugly situation like Waco or Ruby Ridge, where you have those real ones, these people who are super patriots that will not give up their gun at any cost. They don't care how much you take away their rights, block their bank accounts, stop them from, take away their internet, their power, everything. Because you've seen that happen. Okay, go watch the videos on YouTube. Watch a few, though, because some of them are pretty biased, saying that this guy was just this disgusting cult leader and everything. That's what gave them the excuse to go in. But no, they shut the power off. They were playing terrible music all night long to try to get them to come out of the compound. And if you want my honest opinion, that's what I think is going to happen next in Virginia. You're going to see some super patriots ripped of all their rights completely.
Yeah, so my take on the Virginia thing, just to follow up with what you said, I think you're very astute in terms of like the historical events that lead up to this, or how the similarity, I should say, the similarity and how this is all going to play out. I think I didn't even think about Waco. Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar a little bit with the Waco, and that's, yeah, you described it exactly. Pretty close to at least my account of how I understood it. But in Virginia, there's a lot of subreddits I've been reading, okay? Now, I'm not involved. I don't know these people. The whole point of Reddit, for those of you guys who don't know, is Reddit is complete anonymity, meaning people could just lie and make stuff up, or they're telling the truth, and they have they have anonymity, so that way nobody can dox them and fire them from their job and such. So there's the pro and con of that. But anyway, I hear all this stuff on Reddit mainly. And how this all got to this point was, you had a bad Republican governor for a long time. He was corrupt. He screwed up. The voters were disappointed in him. And they had a challenger go against this other guy. Well, he had a little bit of a shoddy history. Plus, what made the difference in all this is Virginia, over the last, I think, 20 years, they have taken in a tremendous amount of immigrants. I mean, it's the population of the greater DC area, like Fairfax, Virginia area that flows from DC. They actually live in Virginia proper. There's Virginia citizens, but they live and work, or they work in DC area. And I think it's increased those county populations like tenfold. And it's made it to where 3 or 4 counties in Virginia can literally decide the whole state damn near. And a lot of these people are people from Korea, people from China, people from Saudi Arabia, people from all different countries in the Middle East and Africa as well. A lot of Nigerians and Sudanese, and a lot of African countries, a lot of Europeans live there as well. So it's a very immigrant-rich area. Now, this is where the problem comes in. Okay, so we have a weak governor, Republican governor. Okay, they weren't happy with him. Even their own Republicans weren't happy with him. And you have immigrants, and their sentiment is, we don't want to live around gun people. We want to live in a sophisticated, highbrow society. We don't want to live around these Trump people, because they just watch CNN and they believe literally every word that's on CNN. They believe every word when they watch MSNBC. And then they're around nothing but liberal people in DC. So these immigrants are scared. They're like, I don't want to be around a bunch of gun-toting, crazy Trump supporters. And they don't seek out their own knowledge. They just kind of go, what does the news tell me in America? I'm going to believe every word like it's straight from the Bible or straight from whatever, you know. Anyway, so these immigrants are going to vote according to those values. Well, here's the thing. In Virginia, the whole state is hardcore Republican. Hardcore Republican. These people look at those immigrants or they look at, I should say, the Democratic government like they're using immigrants as shock troops to overturn the government and take away their rights. Now, here's the issue with that. If there's a armed conflict, I know the immigrants are going to get blamed for this. It's not their fault. I want to emphasize 100 times if necessary, it's not the immigrants' fault, because they're here, they're new, they don't really know any of the values around the Second Amendment. They're just here. They look at the United States as an economic zone to earn money. They don't really look at it like a place to preserve freedom. They just want to come here and make money. I'm not blaming the immigrants, but they are voting antithetical to American values. Okay, and that's what leads to these Democrats.
It's common in Europe to vote that way. These ideals and stuff are common in Europe. It doesn't really matter where you are, France, United Kingdom, the Queen's England. Wherever you are, these are very common things in those areas. They're common themes. And that's another part of assimilation that they don't understand is where the liberals will call them just a bunch of rednecks, okay? Just a bunch of hillbillies, right? No, but those are Americans. And the Americans have these certain values that they don't give up. They don't give them up easy. That's why I think in Virginia, not to cut you off, sorry, but they have like
you're good.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a sheriff over there that's like deputizing everybody he can deputize in order to freaking be able to have that leverage in order to say, no, you're not going to take our guns? Because even a police officer would have to be stupid to go, you know what I think would be a good idea today? I'm going to go with my gun as an armed police officer, go to someone's home and try to take their weapon. I mean, with the mental illness too. With the mental illness in our country, you're gonna get shot. Like, it's a no-win situation. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. No,
you're good. I just want to remind people that are watching that aren't familiar with this. you guys need to understand Virginia, that is the heart of our republic. I mean, if there is a heart pulse, I mean, a pulse in our republic, guys, it's not New York City. It's not Los Angeles. It is Virginia. Virginia had our first 5 presidents. That's where the Federalist Papers, Anti-Federalist Papers, that's where the heart of everything. Do you realize these people have many generations of fighting tyranny? They did in the Revolutionary War, okay? They fought tyranny there. They went down and fought the War of 1812. They fought in the Civil War. They were the South. They were considered the South during the Civil War. These guys have fought nothing but tyrants. That's in their blood. I mean, it is in the Virginians' blood. It's not like Wyoming. It's not like Arizona. It's not like Texas. Virginia is an entirely different state. They are looking at these immigrants like they're the reason. When they're not. They're not to be blamed. I'm just telling. I want to emphasize 100 times. They just haven't properly assimilated yet mainly because our propaganda and our education institution, they tell them America's a POS and you don't need to. Keep your values from wherever you're from. If you're from Norway, if you're from Korea, if you're from, Sudan, wherever you may be from, they tell them to keep their values there. Now, well, here's where the issue lies, okay? You have over 200 counties that are declaring sanctuary status in Virginia, over 200 counties.
Yeah,
every county has its own sheriff department, and they have their own law enforcement department. Let me tell you something. Bring the feds in. Bring Charlottesville, by the way, that's where the capital of, for those of you who don't know, the capital of Virginia is Charlottesville. Bring the state people in Charlottesville into these rural sanctuary counties and try to take away guns. Good luck with that. And as far as Trump goes, I think Trump is being very smart by staying out of this, because I think what Trump's doing, he's doing a wait and see approach. He's going to wait to see what these Democrats actually do. If it's just all talk, or if they actually, they roll the National Guard in there, I think Trump will get involved, because in Trump's base, if people want to admit this or not, Trump's base are like Virginia type of voters in these sanctuary counties. That is Trump's base, not these highfalutin Republicans and these think tanks and part of the political class. Those guys will vote either way. Trump's hardcore base are these people out in the country. And Virginians, guys, they are not Utahns. They're not Coloradans. They're not Arizonans. They're not Texans. Virginians, these guys have a revolutionary spirit in their blood. These people in their blood, they have a revolutionary spirit. Yeah, they're going to look at tyrants entirely different than someone from, say, Utah or Idaho would. It's in there. I'm just saying, it's in their blood. I mean, that has to be emphasized, because so we got to cover both sides. On the liberal side, they've had weak Republican corrupt governors. Okay, so it's legitimate that the Democrats got voted in because of all the immigrants, weak Republican leadership. But on the other hand, people are like, look, we don't mind if you govern us as a Democrat. That's fine. But if you want to take away our guns, we got a fight on our hands, sir. And that's pretty much what they're saying to the governor and the state legislatures. And they've packed all the state courts with Democrats. So they're like, they got us screwed. The only thing we have to protect us is President Trump and our guns.
Yeah, well, and that's just what I was going to say, too. That's why I brought up the Bundys. Now, the reason why I brought them up is because this was over cattle grazing rights, but it very quickly became gun rights, very quickly. Yeah. And the situation remains that the Bundys, a lot like the people who live in the hills of Virginia, are the people who established our country. It's in their blood. Yep. They came out here and established the United States. I'm sure the Bundys go back hundreds of generations to the point where they were the immigrants themselves coming out here and establishing the United States. And that's where I feel like the problem lays. Because just like you said before, I agree with you. It's not necessarily the immigrants, because they're just coming here. They're believing the propaganda, but they also know what the countries that they lived in before were like. And they're literally voting for what they had. But what they don't understand is the super patriot American. The guys because my family came out west in the late 1800s, and we settled in the Morgan Valley here in Morgan, Utah. We've been here ever since. I'm literally within a 100-mile radius of where we came to during the Manifest Destiny and all that stuff. Even my family have had battles with the government. My family actually established a deal with the Utah government. They owned the property that they put the highway on, okay? The highway that goes through Echo Canyon, Weber Canyon right there. My family would run their cows every single year from Lost Creek there, just east of Morgan, all the way to Morgan County. And part of the deal that they made with the United States government way back, okay, way back before any of my grandpa and my great grandpa Pence's side, they made this deal where they could run their cows. And see, the government came in, DOT came in, and they put up barriers on the highway so that they couldn't bring their cows on. And they brought their horses and their trucks. They pulled the barriers out of the way and put the cows on the highway anyway, because it's like, we made you guys a deal. Now, this may be a super old deal, but you can't renege on the deal that we made with you. You built your highway on our property. You know, this is our property, and we made you a deal. And just because times have changed, just because things are different, doesn't mean things are different. And it's in our blood to defend what we have established with this government. Now, and that's why I keep saying, it's not going to get pretty. It's not going to be a good situation. And most people, even if you are a super patriot, most people are going to go, I still got to feed my family. I still got to pay my bills. You know, I can't go through all this. Yes, I'll lay down my guns. Come take them. But there's going to be those ones that are way back in the woods that are going to say, come get them. Come get them. And you better be ready for a fight. And people say all the time, they say, well, the government won't do that. Well, most governments won't. Police departments won't. Sheriff's departments won't. Those people are voted in by us. They're hired by us. They're paid by us with our taxes. And they are us. They are us. They don't want this fight. Okay? But just like I said with Waco, Texas, the ATF came in and they did some terrible things to those people to try to get them to come out of the compound, even up to burning children alive. And everybody blamed David Koresh for it. But the situation should have never gotten that far out of hand. It should have never gotten that far out of hand because they were trying to take away their two basic rights. Now, whether you believed in David Koresh's quote unquote cult or not, okay? Yeah. He claimed it was a religious group of folks, right? And then they said, well, but you can't have that many guns because you guys are starting a cult. So they found this back door because now that it's a cult, they can go ahead and try to come in and take the weapons. And yet again, like I said, most people, most normal-minded, normal-thinking people would hand over their guns. Okay, let's just end this. I don't want my children getting hurt. Not those people. Not in the case of Ruby Ridge. And it does happen. And I'm afraid that if we continue to go down this road, that's what you're going to have, because just like you said, you've already touched on this. There are super patriots that's in their bloods. It's in their genes. It's their whole reason for being that live in Virginia that will not let this happen. And to see these gunfights on TV and to see this ugliness on TV, watching the government try to do this stuff, dude, that's what I honestly believe is coming next. That's what will happen next.
Yeah, so what, again, I want to really touch on this and hammer really hard is just people don't understand the sentiment in Virginia is entirely different than Texas and anywhere else. I mean, like I said, these people have the spirit of revolution in their blood. It's not at all like, say, Montana or South Dakota or, hell, places all other stuff like Minnesota and Ohio. No, Virginia is Virginia. They have a nose for tyrants, basically, and they sense it, and when they get threats like that, they're going to freak out a little different than anybody else would. And here's the problem: when you have government that hasn't even gotten office yet, they're not even in office till January 20th. Okay, or I think it's January. It might be January like 21st or something like that. I can't remember the exact date, but it's in January. They haven't even got an office yet, and they're making threats. I mean, Trump didn't make any threats to anybody when he was in office. Like, he gets all this media. Oh my goodness, he's a tyrant. He's the next Hitler, or whatever. You know, such and such. These people are making threats and they're not even in office yet. And it's like, how do you reconcile that? How do you just hand over your guns? I mean, there's certain people that would, but you have to understand Virginia, it's gone through a tough bout of like a lot of their jobs, offshore, automated, a lot of their mining jobs, a lot of their local agriculture jobs, gone, manufacturing jobs, gone. The opiate epidemic hit Virginia really hard. That Western Virginia, Eastern Tennessee area, opiate crisis, big time. So you have a whole generation of young men about our age. They have nothing to lose. They have nothing to live for, nothing to lose. They have literally nothing to lose. And now they're looking at this situation like the baton's passed to me. This is how they're looking at it. They're looking at it like, I have nothing to gain. The financiers have screwed me. All the political classes have screwed me. My parents, I can't say their parents screwed them, but some of them feel like their parents screwed them by just not being good parents. Like, I won't get into that. But they feel like the whole world screwed them. But they feel like their one hope is to save Virginia. That's their one hope. Their whole life is gone to trash. So now you have a situation where you have a lot of young military age, fighting age men. They have nothing to lose. They have no property. They have no kids. Or if they have kids, they have them taken away through the divorce courts. They have no assets. They're in debt or whatever. They were hooked on opiates. I mean, these people have nothing to live for. But they look at it as, you know what? The baton's been passed to me. This is my generation that can save Virginia. The War of 1812, we went down there, the Revolutionary War, all these different tyrants and different wars the Virginians have fought. They're looking at it like it's my chance. And these people, I'm telling you, John, they have nothing to lose. It's not like these people have like all this property and all this money and all this. These people have nothing to lose. I mean, nothing to lose.
And you're creating the perfect, just like you're saying, you're creating the perfect storm. You're creating a perfect storm for ugly things like the situations I described happening. You're creating that. And that's just what's crazy is I think that if they were smart, they would pump the government that's in Virginia would pump the brakes on what's happening right now, because they don't realize the extreme that some of these people are willing to go. I mean, like you said, let's go back to even just recently, okay, with the Bundys. They shut it down, and they were all pardoned. Like like the ones who, because they did shoot one of them and kill one of them. He climbed out of his truck, and they shot that dude and killed him. You know, that was on live TV. That literally happened. And these people, again, they had nothing to lose. Why did they have nothing to lose? Because they weren't going to lose what their grandfathers and their great-grandfathers and all that had fought for originally. You know, that again, it goes straight back to like the oldest American fundamentals that there possibly was, is people standing their ground. And the hardest people to go into battle with, like just to give you, again, not you, but the people who are watching this, just a little bit of insight. Japan, okay? When the war was getting ready to start in World War II, and you know all the stuff started happening, you know the question was posed to the Japanese: why did you never attack the Americans on their mainland? And the emperor at the time, he said, because there would be a gun behind every blade of grass. That is why they didn't attack us. That's why they won't attack us. And so the bottom line for me is it's like, if you want to go into that war, Japan didn't want to go into that. So why, as our government, would you want to go into that? Because you're going to lose lives. Is it really worth people dying over? And to be honest with you, yeah, probably. That's probably the way they're going to see it. Yeah, it's worth the life loss because we have to enforce these laws that are just tyrannical. They're you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have the right. Our Second Amendment protects us. But you're going against super patriots. And like I said, majority of people will probably lay their guns down until they get back in the woods to a big compound somewhere where a lot of these guys have nothing to lose. And all they have is to prove themselves to their fathers, their great-grandfathers, their grandpa, whatever the hell that you might call it, whatever it is. It's a mentality they don't understand. And once they corner these people, you're cornering a rabid dog. And you're not going to win. Because even if you win and you kill every one of them and take their guns, well, today we had a success. We killed all those people at Waco, and we took all of their guns. The media tells a different story. History tells a different story. You know, and the thing is Americans right now are so fed up with the political climate. The old school super patriots, you know, the old school American base, the people who have always been here, like my families or anybody else, all it does is boil our blood and make the situation worse. And in what I said a minute ago, too, in my live video on Facebook, if in fact they do win, okay, say that the Virginian government do win this battle, it'll be the textbook as to how they're going to do it for the rest of the United States. And it may not happen. It may not happen here soon. It may not be something that happens maybe even in my lifetime, but it'll be the textbook as to this is how you take Americans' guns. And it's not good. Right. It's all bad. It's all bad.
You know, don't take this the wrong way, Johnny. I'm shocked how well your pulse is on the situation. Like, you're gauging everything like near perfect. Like, you're exactly, or at least how I see it, you're exactly right. If this happens in Virginia, ooh, that's the canary in the coal mine. Because let me tell you something. If they can do it in Virginia, there's not a state in the union they can't do this to. And everyone who wants to get on here and say, oh, it won't happen in Texas, don't mess with Texas? Guys, we're 2 elections away from losing our state permanently. Don't even go there with, oh, don't mess with Texas. You guys have allowed millions of illegal immigrants naturalized. Now they're going to vote for Democrats. We brought in all these immigrants from all over the place. They're going to vote for the Democrats. It's happening here in Texas. Look in California. They said the model to turn a state permanently blue is illegal immigration. They did it in California, so now they're using a model everywhere where there's tight swing states. Supermajority red states they're not even worried about because they're usually a small electoral place like Florida, Texas, Arizona, California. They're like, yep, this is the new model to permanently have one big super state. Pack all the courts and have a Democratic supermajority.
Well, that's what they did in Michigan. They started bringing in a ton of people from the Middle East. And now it's they do like Muslim prayers in some of these towns. And they play
Dearborn.
During the day.
I visited Dearborn this summer. Yeah,
a place rich with American history. They used to build our muscle cars up there. You know, and they started to do it in Utah. They started to bring a bunch of Middle Eastern folks in Salt Lake area, and people didn't even really know what was going on until they started to realize, wow, this is getting kind of crazy. And that's what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring in these different ideals from overseas, drop it right in the lap of all of these super conservative places. Virginia will be the textbook as to how to do it.
Yep.
The next places that's going to happen, and I'm not, don't quote me on this. I'm not trying to say this is exactly how it's going to happen, but Texas may be the next place it happens. Why? Because it's the biggest state in the United States. That's the one place. They know that there are super patriots, okay? They know that if they can cripple the super patriots, they can take away their guns. I'm telling you right now, Texas has got a big target on it. And it does because of all of the liberals moving in there. Austin is completely liberal.
Dallas is too. Dallas is gone. Dallas is gone. They got all the Illinoisans and Californians going to Dallas. It's gone now too. San Antonio's another one because of all the illegal immigrants and naturalized citizens. San Antonio's gone. Austin's gone. Dallas is gone. And they're saying because of all the Muslims from Turkey and all the different places in Houston, they're saying Houston's gone too.
And yet again, just like you touched on before, it's not necessarily the immigrants' fault. This is the fault of somebody of our government who have an agenda because they're bringing these people in. And you have to understand the rights we enjoy in the United States of America are not the rights that they enjoy anywhere else in the world. And when they come in, voting this way is normal to them. Okay, this is normal to them. That's what's crazy about it. They don't understand the American dream. They don't assimilate, and they don't have to because CNN tells them they don't have to assimilate. That's racist to even say those things. But
their college professors tell them that too. Hell, the new movies and the new Netflix documentaries they're cranking out too. The new Netflix documentaries, the new movies they're coming out with. And their college professors, they're all saying, oh, America is this country that steals land and with these evil white people. Oh, don't stoop to our level. Keep your culture wherever you're from. If it's Turkey, if it's Sudan or Somalia or Liberia, wherever you're from, don't be like us bad white people. We're bad. Be like you.
But I will honestly say those are terrible countries. If they weren't terrible,
I know
why are they trying to kill themselves to come here? Why would you have to ask yourselves that? If their countries were so great and things were so good, why are they killing themselves to get here to the United States? And
because here's the thing. It's just like I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're fine.
I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to answer your question directly, okay? The reason why is it's like think of it like we're human beings, okay? This is human nature. You want what you want, but you don't want to change who you are. So I've seen this up front and personal in Florida. I've seen it in Arizona. I see it here in Texas. They want to come here. They want to enjoy the fruits of freedom, but they don't want to change as a human being. They want to keep their faith, keep their habits, keep everything. They don't want to change as a person. And because they're uncomfortable around people like me and you, they want to bring in more people just like them. So they vote for people that do that. That's why Somalis stay Somali in the United States. That's why you see people from, say, Honduras come here and they never speak English. They've been here 20 years. The reason that happens is they vote for people to make sure they can create their own insular community where they don't have to assimilate. That's why it happens. Because humans, it's kind of like saying, I want to be a millionaire. Well, I'm going to have to change my thought processes and my habits to get to that point. But people, they don't want to do that. You ask people who want, let's say you want to lift weights and get in shape for New Year's resolution. They don't want to do it. They don't want to give up their diet. They don't want to lift weights. They don't want to. They want the best of both worlds. It's human nature. That's why these immigrants do that. I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it with Nigerians. I've seen it with Mexicans. I've seen it with Hondurans. I've seen it with Somalis. I've seen it with Sudanese. I've seen it with Europeans. It's all the same crap. They don't want to change and give up their culture, but they want to take advantage of the fruits of freedom in our welfare state.
Absolutely.
And they will vote according to that to protect those values they have. That's what the problem is. But the old days, we forced them to assimilate. You're Chinese, you want to live in Chinatown? That's fine. These are American laws and American customs you have to abide by, or you're gone. You're gone. You want to be Italian? You want to be Irish? Cool. Keep your own little town. But in the public sphere, you're gone if you don't assimilate. Japanese, Chinese, Jews, everybody had to assimilate. But these new hippie liberals, they think, oh, white people are bad. Don't be like white people. Keep your Somali culture and your values here because these white people are so evil. And the more sinister problem with that is it's really effective marketing, because if you see one person do like a mass shooting who happens to be white, they believe every single white person's exactly the same way. Ooh, they want to own guns. Ooh, they want to have their freedom of speech. Ooh, I'm not safe. Bring in more immigrants to protect myself from these guys.
Yeah.
That's exactly the sentiment. And you know what? I would challenge anyone to a debate on this. I've seen immigrants from all over the world in the United States. They're all the same. The only ones that really want to come here and assimilate are the ones who desperately want to be Americans. And that's becoming less and less of a thing. People want to stay Korean. They want to stay Nigerian. They want to stay, and they don't value our country. They look at our country as a big trough where they can eat from, but they can go back home and, whatever the hell they want to do. They don't value America whatsoever. They want the best of both worlds. They want to stay whatever culture they're from, but they want all the freedoms it takes to get to that point. So that goes back to my millionaire and fit body example. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to have a six-pack abs, but not everyone's willing to work for it. That's the problem.
No, it's true. And then just like Ilhan Omar, she was a Somali refugee we brought here during the war, and her hatred for our country is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's insane to me that we allow that, because when you have super patriots, you come to somebody who has spent their entire life in the United States and you start asking about like the Indian Wars or World War I, World War II, and the Americans were wrong. And you tell those people that and they're like, no, we weren't. No, we weren't. There's ugly stuff that happens in war. There's ugly stuff that happens in any kind of war that you talk about. But at the same time, where's the good? Because I don't know of any other countries that stuck around and helped these people rebuild. America did. That's what's crazy to me. After the stuff with you hear a lot lately in the news about Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and the stuff that happened in Japan. We dropped the first bomb. Okay, we didn't drop them simultaneously. We dropped the first bomb and we asked them, "Hey, will you surrender now? Because we don't want to have to do that again." They said no. They said no. The only reason why the second bomb was dropped is because they weren't willing to negotiate. They said, no, it doesn't matter. Do it. See what happens. Then we dropped the second bomb. Guess what? They surrendered. The bottom line for me is you can say America did all this terrible stuff, but you're only looking at it from one side, and that's a direct hatred for the United States of America.
Yep, exactly. Thank you.
And another thing that bothers me too is I'm into history big time. And you start to hear about all these Indian wars and how terrible we were to the Indians. Well, guess what, guys? This may not help you. This may not fit your narrative. Okay, the Indians were terrible to each other.
Yep.
If we were to give the Indians back their property, who do we give it back to? The Navajos or the Arapahoes that took it from the Navajos? The bottom line here is they were fighting and battling each other for property before we ever even came here. Except there's a difference. The United States was trying to work with the Indians. We were trying to buy different territories. Now, was there ugliness on both sides? Yes, there was. Yes, there was. But I'm not going to sit here and listen to this bull crap where we just came out here and just killed them all and started building freaking.
No, that's not what happened.
Because that is not at all what happened whatsoever freaking ever. A lot of Indians actually wanted to assimilate to what way we were doing things. They didn't want to live in teepees in the middle of Jackson Hole, Wyoming anymore. They wanted homes. They wanted better ways to feed their families. We taught them that. There were a few, i.e. General Custer, that did not want that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you cannot sit here and try to go through American history and have hatred for the country in your heart first. You have to come into it with an open mind. There were ugly things that happened. We actually had slavery, yes. But the problem with slavery was we were some of the first to start to abolish it. I know they started to in like Europe and stuff. They abolished it in a few places. But when the United States had the Civil War and white people like you and me and our families, because my family fought for the North, okay? We fought for the rights of the black folks to not be slaves anymore.
Exactly.
And when we did it, it was in an unpopular time when a lot of the world still had slavery. We fought for it and we made it, and that's what makes us great. Okay. Are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. No. But nobody is as perfect as the United States, because look how long we've created such a perfect union and held on to such a perfect union. And that takes me straight back to the Virginia situation. You're not going to take these people's guns. Let me say this again. You will not take all of these people's guns. You will take some, because they're not willing to fight the good fight. But deeply, deeply ingrained in some of these people are the people of their ancestors, okay, that did fight for the same stuff. And they will not let you take their guns. And so the next thing we're going to see on TV, the next thing we're going to hear about is this ugly standoff that happens out in the middle of nowhere with these rednecks who have their guns. And I'm sorry, that's just what's going to happen. And I feel it in my heart. And I know that that's what's going to, history repeats itself. Every so often, you're going to see the same outcome to the same situation. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. The government will overpower people. People will die. But at the same time, there will be those ones, the real ones, that say, no, you will have to kill my whole family. You will have to kill me because you will not take my guns. Unfortunately, that's where it's headed. And I'm afraid that is going to be the next step in Virginia, because some people will not take this laying down.
Well, see, in the heart of all this, Johnny, is this is the problem, is we've reached a point where there's no political solution. And that's the part I really want to leave with, is it's either the Democrats don't do nothing, they just bark, they just talk, oh, we're going to take your guns away, but they don't do nothing. Which, by the way, that's the camp I'm in. I hope that's what happens. I hope they just bark and threaten, but nothing happens. Or, I'm telling people, there's one thing you guys can take away from this talk. You have hundreds of thousands of Virginians, just like me. They have nothing to lose. They have no family. They're in debt. They've had a political class, the Bushes, Obamas, Clintons, that screwed their family, that screwed them. You had colleges that promised, oh, we're going to give you these good jobs once you go to school and you graduate, and they graduate with all this debt. There's no job for them. And, and they have, the mass immigration. They have to compete with jobs that lowers wages. They've been screwed more ways than you could ever imagine. A whole generation of young men, probably a little younger than us, they're like, now's my chance. I can finally make something worthwhile in my life. There's nothing in my life I'm proud of, but now I can do it. I can die with some dignity and some grace, knowing I fought for Virginia, for our freedom and overthrowing tyrants. I want everyone to leave with that message, is you have a ton of young men. They have nothing to lose. And again, the Commonwealth of Virginia, they have a revolutionary spirit in their blood. It's not like Utah, okay? It's not like Arizona. There's no revolutionary spirit in those states. It's not like Texas. Texas is more of like it's kind of a revolution, but nothing like Virginia. These people, they have no problem dying. A lot of them are Christian. A lot of them are Protestants. Some are Catholic. They look at it like they're doing God's work. They're going to go to heaven. They're actually looking forward to a tyrant shooting on them, because then they can die and they think they're going to go to heaven. So they're looking forward to it. It's almost like how the terrorists look at, like, when they make a terrorist attack, they think they're going to have like 70 virgins and 20 servants or whatever. That's how they look at, I finally get to see St. Paul. I finally get to see Jesus. I've lived a whatever life you want to say. This is my chance. Jesus is going to take me now. This is where I get to do my standoff. I get to serve my country. I get to go to heaven. So again, it's a perfect scenario. These people in Virginia, they are begging. I wouldn't say they're begging, but they are ready for a fight, because they have nothing to lose. And for anybody here, and this one other point I want to add is, for anybody that thinks these people are radical, or they're they're radical, or they're rednecks, or whatever, how about you talk to me? Let's go to these subreddits and see their grammar and punctuation, and their knowledge of history, and their knowledge of the Commonwealth of Virginia, their knowledge of the Federalist Papers, the knowledge of everything in Western civilization. You tell me they're a bunch of freaking rednecks, because everyone that makes that charge, they're generally a little redneck in their own little ways.
Oh, I agree with you, Jake. And like I said, too, I'll say this in closing, too, because I've got to go to work this evening, so I got to go.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you long, man.
The thing about it for me is you know, you cannot expect that everyone is just going to lay down. You cannot expect that everybody's just going to let you take their guns, and because they're simply not going to let you do that. And I think the next major situation that's going to happen is going to be in Virginia. And I'm sad for these people. Nobody should have to die for this. But the way I feel about it is I'm going to make my ancestors proud. I'm going to make my ancestors proud because I'm going to be fighting the fight that they fought so long ago that I've never had the opportunity to understand. And so when you talk to guys like me who are deeply rooted in the history of the United States, or my family rather, my ancestry rather, I'm not going to let it happen. Plain and simple. You will have to kill me. I'm sorry. And that's what's going to happen in Virginia. And I'm proud of these guys. I hope they keep their cool. I hope no one has to die. I hope it doesn't go this far. I hope they can shut it down and cooler heads can prevail and they can stop it before it gets to that point. But what do I honestly think? Pretty soon you're going to see another Waco, Texas. Pretty soon. These radical, Nazi, white supremacists are held up in a bunker somewhere, and the government's going to come in, either it be the CIA, the FBI, the ATF, and the next thing you know, it's going to be something pretty ugly to watch on TV. And remember, these people will gladly die, like Jacob said. They will gladly die for their ancestors. They will gladly die for the American flag, because in their hearts, they're fighting for something that's legit, okay? It's legit enough to die for. And it's the United States of America. And that's what they don't understand about these super patriots. But let's just hope it don't go that far. Let's hope it stops before it gets that far. But that's where I think it's headed.
It's a hard discussion to have, man, but it's one that's necessary. And another thing I like to bring up to people is we have the internet now. They didn't have the internet back then. So we don't have to trust these mainstream media sites to spin their own little wheelhouse on us. We can go to our own sources and get knowledge straight from the source rather than relying on mainstream media talking points. We can just go to our own independent journalists, people who really don't even make money. They're just reporting on what they've seen. Let's rely on those people, not these for-profit propaganda arms of the Democratic Party. Let's rely on individual journalists, YouTubers, people in the Reddit community, people on Twitter that are actually there that provide their own cell phone videos. Let's trust those people. What's going on?
Nope, I agree with you, and that's just going to be the difference between Waco, Texas, and now. The coverage of it is going to be like no other. You're going to know these people's backgrounds. You're going to know they actually aren't racist. You're going to know that they actually aren't a cult. You're going to actually know all this, and you're going to see it step by step. You're going to see more footage of it than you've ever seen in your entire life. And that's where I think it becomes a problem for the government, the liberal government, is they're digging themselves a hole that's going to be really, really difficult to dig out of, because even back in those days when Waco happened, it wasn't good for Bill Clinton. It wasn't good for those guys. There was a lady, I can't remember what her name was, that was running the show. It wasn't good for her. It wasn't good for them. So, well, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, Jake.
That's all I got, man.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, that's all I got, too. So you guys have a good day. God bless you, and take care of yourselves.
Hey, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.